How do you research before buying an expensive item and knowing that you're getting the best deal, the best quality, and most important, you're getting the best product that will meet your needs? Stay tuned. The whole idea of product research can be overwhelming and frustrating. In this video, I'm going to take you through what I've learned in the 35 years that I've done product research and how I've boiled it down to a very simple procedure, very straightforward, following certain guidelines for each item and finding out a load of information before making a purchase. I don't necessarily follow the same process for every single type of item, but I do follow a set of general principles that we'll go over. If you don't know me, I'm Larry, and I'm from Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality. Now, usually sitting right over here is my wife, Hope, and I really do miss not having her on. Just about 3 weeks ago, she broke her left arm in 3 different places, and she's not able yet to come on camera and do videos, but she is doing a lot better. She's gaining ground every day, and I'm so very thankful for the progress that she has made. In this video, I'm going to go in depth on how to find the best make and model and get the best price, the quality, and of course, longevity is another thing that I really look at closely when I'm deciding to buy a very expensive item, because the longer that it lasts, the better that it holds up, the less expensive in the long run that it's going to be for you. And it might be that the initial price might be a little bit higher in order to buy such a product. I'll also look at things like the features, the quality, and the repair history so we can really understand what we're getting before we do that. The first thing I think that's very important in this process is to define your particular needs and purposes. Everybody's going to have different needs and purposes for a particular item. So an item that I'm doing research on most likely isn't going to fit your needs for the same product. For instance, automobiles. If I do research on cars now, I don't have to buy the same kind of car that I bought 20 years ago when we had a lot larger family. We had 6 of us and a big dog, and we had to be able to find a car that would fit all of us in there. So I had to buy larger cars at that time. Now we have scaled back so we can get some cars that get pretty decent mileage. What you'll need to do is very carefully look at your need. Look at the need that you have for the product. Maybe write down some things. Write down some features that you'll need that will meet exactly your situation. Things that you're looking for in particular for an item that you want to buy. How should that item fit your particular needs? Another thing that you'll have to do too is determine what is your budget for that particular item. How much can you afford? As you do a little bit more research, you might find that you can afford a little less than what you were looking at. But if you have to afford something a little bit more, then it might take you a little bit more time in order to save up for it. The second thing you have to do is your initial research. For the major part of the research, you'll want to go online and research on websites that are like consumer review websites. This is where consumers have looked at each item that you have an interest in, and they've done their own research, they've done their own product reviews, and they've come up with certain solutions on whether that item fits their needs or not. Most likely, if they've had some issues with it, those are things that you need to pay attention to. You can also use other different forums and social media groups to narrow down the brand and the model of the item that you're looking for. This way you can sort through what are all the brands that are out there, which one shows out as the best brand out of all of them, which model of that brand will best meet what you are looking for. That's kind of a way to narrow down your search. I usually use the very same websites for different products that I'm looking at. By looking at these user reviews, that narrows down what experience have they had with it, what experience can you expect to have with that item should you purchase it. By doing this research, it should eliminate the possibility of you getting the wrong item that's not going to meet your needs and do nothing but give you problems. Comparison shopping is another thing that I do once I get to the point where I'm actually going to purchase it. You'll want to try all kinds of different websites, different locations, different stores, compare the prices that each one is offering to narrow down who is going to give you the very best deal on the item. This is particularly true if you're buying a brand new item. Now, for me, buying used items, I don't go all over searching for those. I may go to one or two different locations in order to find the best deal on a used item. You can use price comparison websites that will give you the price differences between different locations that are selling the item. That will help narrow down that price issue. I usually check with just a handful of various websites as I narrow down the search. I don't want to make this terribly complicated. In fact, for automobiles, for the most part, I use one really good website to compare the prices of used cars in my area. And we'll go into that in more depth because that's the example that I'm going to use for this video. You can use browser extensions to locate coupons that you can apply toward products. Hope is really good at this. She likes to use Rakuten, and we'll leave a link in the description of this video for Rakuten so you can get on that website and get some coupons toward new items. I think one of the most important scenarios in doing product research is to determine the product longevity and the repair history. This is so important. Those are probably the two main factors that I use in purchasing a vehicle. How reliable has that vehicle been for other people? What is the repair history of not only the vehicle itself, but the make and the model that you're looking up? Sometimes a model will do better under certain makes than others. So you want to really do a lot of research in that area. Ultimately, that can really save you money because obviously the item that's not costing you a lot of money to maintain is going to be much cheaper in the long haul. You want to investigate the repair history of each product and look at reports on what are the long-term performance of that item. In the case of a car, how well does it hold up if it has 100,000 miles on it? How about if it has 150,000 miles on it? What difference does that make? That can make a great difference in the price that you're going to pay for an item, but they can also make a difference in how well it's going to hold up for you. If you know somebody that has the exact product that you have your eye on, I think it's a really good idea to contact them and get their analysis of what they have owned. Remember, they don't have an agenda on selling you something, so they're going to be very honest with how well an item has held up for them. Another thing that I've done, if I'm not sure about an item, we had to replace a washing machine here about a half a year ago. And I don't know anything about washing machines, but I happen to know a really good friend who repairs them. He works for Sears, and that's all he does is repair appliances. So I called him up and asked him, which is the best appliance that you don't have to go out and do repairs to very often? And one of the brands that he mentioned to us in washing machines was Whirlpool, and he suggested getting one of those. So we ended up getting a Whirlpool. And to do a little bit more research on the washer, I looked at different models, and they have top-loading models and front-loading models. The front-loading models are much more expensive. They're about twice the cost of a top-loading model, you know, the old-fashioned kind of washing machine. So since all I wanted was something that will clean clothes, it didn't matter to me whether it was top-loading or front-loading. We bought a top-loading washer, which was much cheaper. So ultimately, we did really good. We saved good money. We found a place in town that would sell it for pretty cheap, and we bought a model that was in their warehouse. So we got a little discount there. There's all kinds of ways to kind of move into that high discount area of finding an object that you're looking for that costs a lot of money. If you're enjoying this video, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to Under the Medium, subscribe and you'll get videos like this coming your way on a regular basis. We would love to hear from you on how you do your research. You might have some other steps that you take that I haven't even talked about in this video. A couple other items you can look for in purchasing new is look for open box items. When I was buying a camcorder for my family, that was the first thing that I did was I went to the open box table over at a Best Buy and looked at those prices, and I was able to get a camcorder, a really nice one, a high quality one, for hundreds of dollars off of what a new one would cost. A lot of times people will purchase something and they find out that that item doesn't really meet their needs, so they return it to the store, and there's nothing wrong with it. The store checks it out and they'll give the very same warranty on their open box items as they would the one that's brand new in the box, so that you don't lose anything on purchasing that item. Another thing that's really good to do on a new item is make sure that you research the warranty and the return policy of every store. You want to check out and see how long do you have to really check this item out, and if it develops a problem, how long do you have before you have to take it back in order to get your money back. So that's always good. Different stores have different policies on that. Some of them are very generous about their return policies, and they give you ample time in order to check something out that you've purchased new to make sure that it's going to work correctly. You'll, of course, want to seek discounts and deals. One of the things that you can do is sign up for a store's promotional program so that they'll send you emails and let you know when prices have dropped on a particular item. It's always good to have that. Some stores run specials. We've mentioned Menards runs that 11% off on all their items every so often. It's good if you can take advantage of a couple of discount deals while you're buying the item that you're researching and looking for. Look for seasonal sales, clearance events, holiday promotions, all kinds of different ways to save money on making that purchase. Check the manufacturer for rebates, coupons, and cashback offers on the item that you've purchased to see if you can get a discount that way. It's always important to explore other brands and alternative models. So if you've got your mind set on a certain car, it's okay to just get outside that a little bit and look at other manufacturers, something similar. I was looking for a small car. The last car that I bought was a little Honda Fit, and all we needed was a car that would seat 4 people. And I wanted a car that would get good mileage and have a little extra cargo space that the Prius didn't have. The Honda Fit offered those things. But while I was looking at the Honda Fit, I also looked at what Ford offered, what Chevy offered, what did Hyundai offer. I looked at other brands to see what they offered in a very similar package. And when I went out and test drove the different cars, I narrowed it down to the Honda Fit because I liked the quality of that car for what I was going to get for my money the very best. One of our sons ended up with a Mazda. Now, I hadn't even thought about buying a Mazda, but we found out that Consumer Reports did an article a while back that stated that Mazda was, in their minds, the most reliable car on the market. I had no idea. I always thought it was Toyota and Honda, but according to Consumer Reports, Mazda is the #1 reliable car. So we ended up finding a Mazda for a really good price in excellent shape at a brand new car dealership in town, and Daniel got himself a really nice car as a result. You'll want to read reviews and seek recommendations from trusted sources in order to sort out what is the very best for you in terms of value and alternative options. Verify product authenticity and reliability. You can do this by going to different websites and doing some research. You want to make sure that you're buying your item from a reputable dealer. Now, when it comes to buying cars, I like to buy from a regular dealership. For one, they've gone over that car, they've looked at it, and they've fixed up anything that was major that needed to be fixed on it. So when you get a car that's on their used lot, you're getting a car that's already been thoroughly checked out. If you're buying from an individual, you're going to take a risk. In that case, I would take the car to a dealership and have it checked out thoroughly at the dealership to make sure that it's okay. I use Car Gurus to do all of my research on used cars. When you look up a car on Car Gurus, and that's an online website, it is so nice. They have so much information. One of the first things that I like to see on it, once I narrow my car purchase down to make and model, then I go on Car Gurus and I look up and I check the prices. And when you see a price of a vehicle, they'll look at the mileage of the vehicle and the different options that the vehicle has, the particular model of that vehicle, and they compare it to what's normally been selling, and they say whether the price listed for that item is high or if it's low. And if it's low, they'll tell you exactly how much and how much you're saving. So it's a really good way to do that kind of research without you having to do so much on your own. I'm going to go on Car Gurus and just look at some of the information that they have on a 2019 Honda Fit. It gives you a lot of really good information right at your fingertips. This particular car has a 10-gallon gas tank, and on the highway it gets 36 miles to the gallon. So you can multiply out there and see how long you're going to run. You're going to run about 360 miles on a gas tank when you're on the highway. It'll also tell you the overall safety rating of that vehicle. Some vehicles come with a really top-notch safety rating. The Toyota Prius does, and so does the Honda Fit. And those are things you want to look for so you know what the car is going to do in case of an accident. How well is the car going to hold up to that? It tells you the history of the vehicle too. So in Car Gurus, it tells you whether it has a clean title, any accidents reported, how many previous owners. And on an older car, you're probably going to have more owners on it, of course. It'll even give you the history of the price. It'll tell you whether the owner has decreased that price since they originally listed it. So you can tell that it's been listed, but it hasn't sold for a while, so they're decreasing that price. You can narrow down your search by miles from your house. So I usually use 100 miles from my home, and I'm probably going to get a vehicle that's less than 20 miles from where I live because I don't like to drive a long way from home to purchase a car. If I'm buying from a dealership, I want to be able to take it back to that dealership without having to drive a long way to take a car back to them. For purchasing a car, Car Gurus, I find, is a great website, especially when you're in the research stage, because it tells you a lot of the things that you're looking at in your research. It doesn't tell you how well it holds up. Those are things that you'll need to go on YouTube and maybe look at some YouTube videos where somebody's done a product review on that specific item. By following these steps, you, as a consumer, can monitor all the different aspects of a product in terms of how well it's going to hold up. How much is it listed on other websites? What's it generally going for in your area? And getting the best price on that item based on all these things. You'll also get an item that's going to exactly fit your needs or come as close to it as you possibly can. So I think by researching, you can get the maximum value out of things that you purchase for your family. I talked about buying used cars just a little bit in this video. If you'd like a little more in-depth look on buying a used car, I got a video right over there that'll go into a lot more detail on what we do when we make that purchase.